all you lovely people. Wow. This is it. This is the final module video for you all. I know I can't believe it. It is wild. Now, anyhow, let's finish this up. So as we've seen now how leaving the cave involves recognizing our own ignorance, about being driven by this restlessness of reason to seek out deeper truth about ethics, morality, values. But we also have seen now a moral duty that we all have to return to the cave and to free others from their chains. And at this point, though, I often hear frustration from students. Maybe it's already, I'm still seeing a little bit of it on Twitter, that it seems that answering these questions, these questions of ethics, these questions of morality, they just seem unanswerable, right? Because everyone we've read in this class disagrees with everyone else that we read in this class. Everyone seems to disagree about what ethics and morality involve. So these questions just seem to be fundamentally unanswerable. And it just seems like it's, for 2,000 years, no one's agreed about this. This disagreement goes back, millennia. And yet, why should we expect this to ever end, right? After all, philosophers keep debating this thing for thousands of years, and doesn't look like this debate is ever going to end. And so how do we respond to that? That's, I think, a very important question here for the very end of things, is that, how do we respond to this idea that the questions of ethics and morality seem to be unanswerable? And I think at this point, this is very sad, but I think when confronted by this, I think a lot of people often just end up settling for either skepticism or complacency. Now, a lot of people go into skepticism, I think, skepticism is just accepting that there are no answers to ethics of these questions. There's just no answers. But others, maybe settle for complacency. Complacency is just accepting some answer, whatever answer, just accept that answer as dogma and never critically examine that dogma. So again, we get skepticism. They're unanswerable, so there are no answers. Or you get some kind of complacency where you just accept something as dogma and then don't bother thinking about it beyond that. And I will say, I think Professor Gray thinks both of these are absolutely wrong. I think skepticism and complacency are completely lazy. I think skepticism and complacency are absolutely worthless for true leadership. So we don't have to talk about philosophy, why I think they're bad. I think they're bad for anyone who wants to be a true leader and create true lasting change. Because a leader has a vision. A leader is willing to help others see it. A true leader does not force their vision onto other people. No, the true leader is not a dictator, not a tyrant. A true leader tries to get people to see something, to share in a vision of some kind. And in short, skepticism, complacency, they aren't serious. They're lazy. They aren't a serious philosophical or any other kind of approach to ethics and morality. And indeed, I think the struggle of studying morality, of trying to live a good life, is trying to sail your ship between these twin dangers of skepticism and complacency. And yeah, that's no small challenge. That's a lifelong task to not end up being just skeptical of everything, or not ending up being just lazy and complacent. But why keep sailing that ship between these two extremes? Why keep struggling through morality? Especially if these questions of ethics and morality seem unanswerable. Why keep sailing that ship? Why keep studying morality? Why keep reading people who died hundreds or maybe even thousands of years ago? I mean, philosophy, especially ethics, is one of those classes where we continue to read people who are long dead, along with more recent people as well. But I think Immanuel Kant, actually, our old friend Immanuel Kant, I think has a great response to why we keep going with morality, why we keep struggling. Because he says skepticism is a resting place for human reason, where it can reflect upon its dogmatic wanderings, but it is no dwelling place for permanent settlement. To acquiesce in skepticism or complacency, says Immanuel Kant, well, that will never, skepticism and complacency will never suffice to overcome that restlessness of reason. Yes, skepticism or complacency may help us with resting places, but they're not a place for permanent settlement. They're not a place where I wouldn't want anyone to live their lives there. And as we've seen with the allegory of the cave, reason is restless. Reason, the minute we realize we might not have it figured out, reason is awakened. And especially when it comes to ethics and morality, of all things, because yes, the questions of ethics and morality, they might indeed seem unanswerable, but they are, without a doubt, they are absolutely inescapable. I've mentioned this before, and now I want to wrap things up there. Because look, every day you choose to live. Every day you choose to act. Every day, even in the smallest of ways, you are giving your life meaning through those choices, through those actions, through living. Big or small, you are giving your life meaning. You are giving some kind of answer, or embodying, I like that. You are embodying some kind of answer to ethics and morality. And look, maybe what the ethics you embody is about caring for your family and other loved ones. Maybe the ethics you embody is about focusing on improving yourself through things like education. Perhaps the life you embody, the ethics you embody, is about helping out the vulnerable and achieving fundamental social justice, whatever it is. But in all those different ways, big and small, you are choosing to embody whatever it is you think about ethics and morality. And that is why we simply cannot ignore these questions of ethics and morality. Yes, these questions seem unanswerable. No one can seem to agree on them, but you can't ignore them either. For your public or your private life, these questions are absolutely inescapable. Like I said, you're living it. And so all the people, this is the kind of cool thing, is that at least all the people we've read agree on one thing, is that we must take ethics and morality seriously. We must strive to break those chains and lead ourselves out of that cave and discover those truths, whatever they may be. I don't profess to know what those are, and any truths I have, I guard carefully. They are mine. But I will help others in what little way I can to make that journey and discover what the truths are for themselves. But remember, Immanuel Kant, again, I love this idea. He's the most difficult guy, but he has his idea about dignity, this idea about that you are priceless. You have absolute worth. And as we saw, Immanuel Kant thinks that your pricelessness comes from your very ability to think about ethics and morality. Animals can't do that. At least my cats certainly don't think about ethics and morality. But you, just by sitting here and listening to me, hopefully thinking about it, you are able to think about ethics. And remember, Kant says is that by thinking about ethics, that's how you give value to the things in this world. Remember, you are the lawgiver. You are the value giver. And so, yeah, Kant would say by studying ethics, you are expressing your own dignity. And you are projecting your own limitless value into this world. You have limitless value, and you are projecting it every time you act. And that's the power of what it means to be who you are. And Socrates would agree. He says, here, I love this quote. He says, "It is the greatest good for a person to discuss virtue every day, for the unexamined life is not worth living." So what he's saying, well, obviously we're biased. We're trying to do philosophy here, but the study of ethics, the discussion of virtue, even if it's on Twitter, are absolutely important. And to do that, though, to discuss value, to study ethics, to think about these things, you must start with your own life. You must start there, because it's up to you to give your own life its meaning, to give That's what Kant says. You're projecting your value into the world. But of course, the first thing you project that value on has to be your life. This thing that should be priceless to you and so important. But you get to determine what that means. No one else can do that for you, says Socrates. No one. That's the path to slavery. No, you want the path to self-mastery, self-realization, true leadership. And again, as Immanuel Kant notes, that once you see that value, that pricelessness that you have, don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Again, I love this idea. Kant says that once you realize that your life has dignity, that your life is priceless, once you give your life its meaning and you project that pricelessness into the world, you also simultaneously, says Kant, begin to see that same value in others and come to see that each one of us, every one of us, every person has that same unconditional worth, that same unconditional value, that same dignity, that same pricelessness. And this is why, as Plato and Socrates would say to you now, that yes, we hope you leave the cave. We're going to help you get as far out there as we can in our limited ways. But you must return at some point. You must act as a leader. You must act as a teacher. You must act as a servant, lighting a fire within others so that they too may see their own dignity, their own unconditional worth. Because here at UB, we give you the best of ourselves. We give you our diligence, our courage, our empathy, our integrity, as much as we can. And I have no doubt that these will blaze you a successful path through your life. I have no doubt. But I beg you, please don't forget to share these gifts generously to better the lives of those around you. Because finally, the aim of this whole course really has been, at the end of the day, it has been to awaken that restlessness of reason within you, show you your own unconditional worth, help you project your unconditional worth, your unconditional value, your pricelessness into the world. And just to see where that leads you guys. And so I do hope, I really do. I hope this restlessness continues to affect you in the days and years to come. And that one day, I really sincerely hope that one day you will come to my office when it's safe, when we're vaccinated. I hope you do come to my office on North Campus in Park Hall and show me, where has reason led you? Where has that restlessness taken you? But until that day, which I seriously will be so pleased for that day. But until then, please, as always, take care, stay safe.